Hello student, I welcome you all in this revision class of the solid state. So in this class, first I will discuss about the solid. Solid is the hard substance, rigid, dense. They have the fixed volume and the fixed shape. They are incompressible in nature and only one motion is there, that is the vibrational degree of motion. These are the solid. Then we have the comparison between the crystalline solid and amorphous solid. Crystalline solid is the non-water, means whatever the arrangement at one point we have, the same arrangement will be there at the another point of the crystal. And what about the salt water? Means whatever the arrangement we have at this point, the same arrangement will be not applicable at any other point. So next, they have the fixed arrangement, means units are arranged, particles are arranged in any very defined fixed arrangement. But here they are arranged in a random fashion. They have the fixed melting point and a particular heat of the fusion, but they always melt over a range. Suppose if melting point of his crystalline substance is 1000, then melting point of the amorphous substance is not the exactly 1000, it should be in the range. It may be from the 995 to the 105, and they have the variable heat of the fusion. On the breaking, they always provide the smooth surface and sharp edges, but amorphous solid on the breaking, they provide the uneven surface and the uneven edges. You can think about the example of the glass. If you break the glass, always they give the new surface which is irregular in nature and edges are not the very sharp. Then these are called the true solid and these are called the false solid or pseudo solid or sometimes super cooled solid liquid. Crystalline substances are formed by the slow cooling of the substance, but amorphous substances are formed by the fast cooling of the substance. Slow cooling of the liquid and these are formed by the fast cooling of the liquid. They are anisotropic and these are isotropic in nature. What is the meaning of the anisotropic? If we calculate the magnitude of the directional property in the different direction, then in each direction we will have a different value of the directional property. For example, if we calculate the tensile strength, then if in this direction I am calculating the tensile strength, then look, you see negative repulsion, negative repulsion, negative repulsion. In this direction we have the repulsion. If I calculate in this particular direction, then you see in this direction cation repulsion, cation repulsion, but this repulsion is different from the anion repulsion. So this F2 is different than the F1. But if I am calculating the tensile strength in this direction, now you see cation anion cation attraction, cation anion attraction, anion cation attraction, they have the attraction between them. Then in this direction we require the more energy to break the molecule, to break that substance. Okay, so this F1 should not be equal to the F2, F2 should not be equal to the F3. But in this system, the particles are randomly arranged, so either we calculate the F1 in this direction or F2 in this direction or F3 in this direction or in any other possible direction. In all the possible direction, tensile strength has to be the same. Then type of the solid, okay, based on the how many, means which kind of particle present in the solid, we can define the solid into the 4-part ionic solid made by the cation and anion. What is the force of attraction we have? We have stronger electrostatic force of example attraction. Examples are the NaCl, KCl and cesium, bromide, etc. Metallic solid are formed by the canals and the free electron canal is the metal cation. And what is the force of attraction? We have the metallic bonding among the metal. Okay, example Ag, Na, Fe, Au, all the metal. Then covalent solid or network solid, these are also sometimes called joint molecule. These are formed by the atoms. What is the force of attraction? We have the covalent bond between them. Okay, example like diamond and graphite. Then we have the molecular solid. In the molecular solid, molecules are present. They are connected by the either hydrogen bonding H2 and H3 HF solid, or device forces, dipole-dipole interaction like HCl, HBr, or means Coulomb forces, that is a dipole induced dipole interaction like a solid formed by the Cl2 and HCl, or the London forces, it is the weakest interaction and it is amongst the all the molecules, those are non-polar in nature. These are polar in nature. This is polar with non-polar, and these are non-polar in nature. This is called London dispersion forces. Okay. Then next we have the unit cell. What is the unit cell? The smallest part of the crystal system is called the unit cell. You can think about a brick which is present in the building. By the repetition of that brick again and again in the same manner, we have the entire 3D structure of the building. So smallest particle, or you can say smallest unit, which repeat itself in the same way again and again to give the entire 3D structure. That smallest unit is called the unit cell, and by the repetition of the unit cell we have a 3D structure, and that 3D structure is called the crystal lattice or space lattice or 3D lattice or simply lattice. So look, 3D structure by the repetition of the unit cell is called the lattice. When we define the unit cell, we always have the three edges A, B, C, and we have the three interfacial angle, that is the alpha, beta, gamma. Look, edge length A, edge length B, and edge length C. The angle between the A and B is the gamma. Angle between A and B, leave these two. Third one is the gamma. Angle between A and B is the gamma. Angle between B and C, leave the beta and gamma. That is the alpha. Between the B and C, alpha. And the angle between A and B, leave alpha and gamma. That is the beta. Based on the particle present in the different location, we can divide the different unit cell into the two parts. First is the simple unit cell or primitive unit cell, and second one is the centered unit cell. In the primitive unit cell, particles are only present at the corner. This is the primitive unit cell in which the particles are only present at the corner. Then we have the centered unit cell. Centered unit cell, first body centered unit cell. In the body centered unit cell, we have the particle at the body center in addition to corner. Then face centered unit cell. In the face centered unit cell, we have the particle at all the face center in addition to the corner. So in the simple unit cell, only corner. In the body center unit cell, with the corner and body center. In the face center, with the corner to face center. But in the end center, the particles are present at only two opposite face center. Contribution of every particle which is present at the corner is 1/8. The particle which is present at the face center has the contribution half. The particle which is present at the body center has the contribution 1, and the particle which is present at the center of the edge. Okay, in the next slide you will find out that edge center is the octahedral void. So particle which is present at the edge center has the contribution 1/4. Number of particles in the simple unit cell. How many particles are there? 8 corners are there, and each one has the contribution 1/8. So number of particles 1. In the BCC, 8 into 1/8 is the corner, and plus 1 particle of the body center. In the face center, 8 into 1/8 corner particle, and face center particle 6 into half. Contribution of the face center is the half. 6 face center, contribution is the half. So total number of particle 4. In the end center, 8 into 1/8 particles of the corner, and 2 into half. So total number of particles become the 2. Look, edge length is A, face diagonal A under root 2, body diagonal A under root 3, corner to face center A by under root 2, corner to body center A under root by 2, corner to edge center A by 2, and corner to non-touching face center. Corner, if you see, suppose this is our reference corner, then this face center is in the touch. Okay, this face center in the touch, this face center in the touch, but this face center, and a face center of the top plane are not in the touch. So corner to the non-touching face center has the distance a under root 1.5. Based on the variation in the A, B, C and alpha, beta, gamma, we have 7 kind of the basic crystal system. Those are the cubical, tetragonal, orthorhombic, hexagonal, rhombohedral, monoclinic and triclinic. When these 7 crystal system has the different variation of the different type of the cells, it may be the simple, it may be the body center, it may be the face, or it may be the end center. Then we have 14 kind of Bravais lattice. 3 here, 1 here, 4 here, 1, 1, 2, 1. 14 kind of Bravais. What are the information? Cubical can have the primitive body center, face center. H length A is equal to B is equal to C. Alpha is equal to gamma is beta is equal to gamma is equal to 90. Example is the NaCl and KCl. Tetragonal only primitive is possible. H length A is equal to B is not equal to C. Alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma is equal to 90. Example SnO2 and TiO2. In the orthorhombic, all the 4 type of the unit cell is possible. Edge length A is not equal to B, not equal to C. Alpha is equal to gamma is equal to beta is equal to 90. Example are the KNO3 and BaSO4. Then in the hexagonal, only primitive is possible, in which A is equal to B but not equal to C. Alpha is equal to beta is equal to 90 and gamma is equal to 120. Example are the graphite and ZnO. Next is the rhombohedral. Example is the P, only P. H length A is equal to B is equal to C. Angles alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma not equal to 90. Examples are the calcite, ice and rhombic sulfur. Then monoclinic. In the monoclinic, only primitive and end centered is possible. Edge length A is not equal to B not equal to C. Bond angle alpha is equal to gamma is equal to 90 and beta is not equal to 120. Beta is not equal to 120. Example are the gypsum and monoclinic sulfur. Triclinic only primitive is possible. In the triclinic, alpha is not equal to beta is not equal to gamma. Edge length A is not equal to B not equal to C. Angles alpha is not equal to beta not is equal to gamma not is equal to 90. Example are the K2Cr2O7 and S3BO3. After this we have the packing efficiency. Look, all the atoms and the particle, they are considered to be spherical, and whenever two spheres meet each other, we always have some gap at their junction point. Due to this void space, their packing efficiency cannot be the 100%. Then how we can define the packing efficiency? The total volume occupied by the particle out of the complete volume available to them is called the packing efficiency. Higher the packing efficiency, higher the density, better is the lattice. So you see, packing efficiency can be defined as the volume of the particle divided by total volume of the unit cell multiplied by 100. If we have a simple unit cell, A and R relationship, A by 2 is equal to R, number of particle 1, packing efficiency 52.4% and vacant space 47.6%. If we have the body centered unit cell, what is the relationship? A under root 3 by 4 is equal to R, number of particle 2, packing efficiency 68, vacant space is the 32. If we have the face centered unit cell, what is the relationship? A under root 2 by 4 is equal to R, number of particle 4, packing efficiency 74% and void space is the 26%. If we have the hexagonal close packing, then packing efficiency again same and void space is same. What we need to remember in this case, A and R relationship, A by 2 is equal to R, number of particles 6, and very important is the formula of the height of the hexagon. Height of the hexagon is given by the 4 under root 2 R divided by under root 3. This is the height of the hexagon. And what is the volume? 24 under root 2 R cube. It is the volume formula, and these two formulae you have to remember especially.